work on projects that you want to learn and grow on. Unless you actually work on those and you're part of that, you aren't going to be able to grow and really learn. So I would say it can be intimidating, but I think it's definitely important to lean in and be a part of any projects, campaigns where you want to be a part of, because without that experience, you aren't going to get the experience.
Welcome to How I Grew This, where we dive into the world of digital marketing and connect with leaders in the space about how they're scaling, evolving, and growing. Hey everyone, welcome to How I Grew This. Today we're joined by Erica Johnson, who's Director of Global Platforms at Publicis Collective. She has a deep experience in digital marketing, media technology, and ad ops, so I'm excited to get her take on mobile trends shaping 2026, fresh off of the Publicis Mobile Summit that we just met at recently. So welcome, Erica.
Yes, thank you. Great meeting you there. And it was a great connection to make while I was there. So really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that and some of the themes that you saw come out of it for sure. But to start us off, can you start by giving our listeners a quick overview of your role as Director of Global Platforms over at Publicis? People say Publicis and Publicis. I'm interested also to hear your take on the pronunciation.
They do. I actually will interchange using both of it just because I know, depending on what country or region you may be speaking to, it could be Publicis or it could be a Publicis. I think here in the Americas, probably more Publicis.
All right. I mean, it makes sense, publishing related type inspiration for the word. But yeah, I hear both. Anyway, tell us a little bit about your role.
Yeah, so I have been working in the ad ops world for a while. So I know my title is platforms, but a lot of my experience and background and what I do at Publicis is ad ops related. But I do have my hands in a lot of different platforms, whether it's the MMP or in the ad server or one of our partner platforms that we're using. But essentially, I take a look at processes and also help with getting client initiatives launched from the platform's ad ops perspective. And launching and working with MMPs has actually been one of the big initiatives that I've really helped on since I've joined. So
awesome. And so we just mentioned it, the Mobile Summit that y'all just put together was really an opportunity to bring all of those types of platforms and folks together. So I know you were pretty heavily involved in planning the event. So I would love to hear your take on what went into that and what you were hoping attendees would walk away with.
Yeah, so definitely a ton of time and dedication. And I don't want to take any credit away from Phil Golas and Anthony. They really put a ton of time into this over the last couple of years. And I think one of the biggest takeaways is really just understanding that mobile app is here. It's really important. And a big chunk of consumer times are spent on mobile apps. So we really need to understand, and not all clients may be heavy into the mobile app space, but for those that are, definitely want to make sure that this is something that we're able to track and we're able to measure and we're able to perform on. So I think just understanding what's currently going on in the space, what's to come, and hopefully give some space on thoughts and ideas on how to continue to execute and move mobile app forward.
Yeah. Would you say there was anything that surprised you that came out of the event? Any themes or things that were brought up on stage?
I think definitely some key points that will be important to take away from it. So really thinking beyond the install, thinking about AI in the space and thinking about it from multiple different aspects as well. So not just how the consumers are using it, but also from how you're implementing or how you may be buying, or just thinking about ways that AI is going to influence not just the consumer's day to day, but also our day to day as well, and where AI will fit in when either executing it or just delivering your mobile app campaigns. And then I think the other important piece, looking at the journey and the signals, there's still definitely fragmentation there. And I think there's definitely more to come and a lot that everyone can take from it to hopefully improve their app performance and also just help close any gaps where there are those leaks or fragmentation.
Yeah, it definitely rings true that there is still fragmentation. And it was really nice just to hear the different angles and different perspectives, because it's a messy world and we're all coming at it from a different angle. So it was a really great event to be able to get that cross point view. But I realized we haven't really introduced our viewers or listeners that might not be aware of what Publicis does to that. So maybe take a quick step back and give a little highlight reel for Publicis as well.
Yeah. So we work on executing digital media plans, and it's across all the different channels. So whether it's social, search, programmatic, CTV, we execute across all those channels and really want to make sure that we are delivering the most innovative and best campaign that we can for all our clients, and also be able to measure and report out on that and make sure that the clients are getting the outcomes and hopefully success that they want from their digital advertising.
Yes. And Publicis is a great partner to Branch, so that is very fun. I do want to talk about how you even got into this space at all. So how did you end up in mobile advertising? Was that the plan? Did it just kind of naturally happen? Did you fall into it?
Yeah, no. So taking it back a little while, I won't say quite how long because that might age me, but that's okay. I fell into the space. I have been on the advertising and ad app side of things since my career started and kicked off. I was a marketing major and I had graduated when everything had just collapsed. So it was pretty difficult, but due to some really fortunate connections, I was able to land something, and it was at an agency and it was ad apps. And then just really had some great people along the way, great opportunities, great clients, just to continue to learn and expand. And yeah, so here I have landed in the mobile app space currently.
So is there a belief that you had 5 years ago about mobile advertising that you've completely changed your mind on, or that because it's so volatile of an industry that it's changed your mind for you?
I would say probably the measurement piece. Whenever I think about executing campaigns, I always think about being able to measure, being able to track, etc. And so, believe it or not, that was one of my initial thoughts is, all right, well, how do we track this and the user journey and make sure we're able to capture what is happening from when you go and execute a mobile app campaign?
Yeah. And the measurement piece, as we know, has changed a lot as signals disappear and as new privacy regulations come in. And a lot of that is what we think about at MMPs over here, mobile measurement partners. So you've called yourself an MMP power user. I would love to hear a little bit more about not only that expertise for you, but also what maybe some common misconceptions are about mobile measurement.
So one of the things that, again, first came to mind for me is just wrapping my head around being able to measure everything. So definitely I have overcome that and understand by using you need the MMP, right, to be able to measure. So that's the first thing. And then becoming a power user, I was actually working on getting a lot of apps set up and migrated from one MMP to another. It was on a global scale as well. So, I had to be in the MMP every single day, learning how things need to be set up. There's the partner configurations, there's the links, there's scan. So all those things had to be done for all the different apps that we were migrating over. And then you got to also be able to connect those to all the different partner platforms that you're using as well. So that's how I became a MMP power user, was just being on that project and migrating everything over.
What is the hardest part to migrate, would you say, out of everything that you just listed?
Probably making sure that you have all your postbacks that you're going to be measuring. And then because we had so many different apps, it's just making sure that all those postbacks events were there in each of the apps. And then the other piece as well is not for all the partners, but for some partners, getting the partner configure in place is a little more tricky for some than for others, especially like ensuring that you have like scan there as well. Those were probably the most intricate and toughest pieces.
Got it. Okay. Well, I'm curious if there are any channels or networks or partners that you think are underrated today or deserve another look? Because I know you have experience with a lot of those connections.
I would say what is underrated at the moment is just thinking about this experience, probably if you're doing a cross-device campaign and the experience of web to app. And probably just those gaps that are there and how to make sure that you have everything in place to have as seamless of a journey as possible between the two different experiences.
Yeah. And I'm sure now, like web and CTV, like between all of it, and it's definitely something we think a lot about at Branch. And I know it's definitely one of the easiest things is to stop, take a look at your foundations and make sure, like, are your links taking people to the right place, like across devices, across screens, across platforms, and are you measuring it? So yeah, definitely hear you on that one.
Yeah. Deep linking too is important as well, especially if there's like any updates that are happening too. You know, be aware if there's updates that have happened, because if there's an update that affects the deep links, which I had in one case, that is important to know to make sure that they're still being deep linked to the same area.
I'd like to know if you think there's a question that more brands should ask before they launch a campaign or start investing their budget somewhere.
I think it needs to be kind of a holistic approach. I think sometimes too often there's like one specific outcome or KPI that they may be really focused on. But I think it's really important to like understand holistically what needs to go on. So I know that's a lot, right? Because there's a lot that goes into that. But I think it's just really important to think holistically when thinking about executing something. And also from my perspective as well, just like timelines and work, right, that it takes to put into this, and just really understanding the time that it could take and thinking about all the stages. One thing that I think is really important to remember is kind of like a crawl, walk, run as well, especially if it's something big. I'm not giving like one straight answer here, but I really think it's important to think about things holistically, timeline, and really each of the different stages that you may have within that.
No, I really think it is so easy to get stuck with your blinders on and just like, what am I supposed to be doing in this moment and how do I do that? But like thinking about how it fits into the broader brand's goals or like how it connects with another team. So you're not duplicating work or like not understanding how it all relates together. So I think that's a really important lesson. And two, about the timelines, just tangentially related to that, like taking a beat, maybe like to your point, let's set some expectations. Let's like all get on the same page. Maybe it's a lesson in not rushing so much, even though it's easy to rush because we want to go, go, go.
Yeah. And I understand like a lot of times they'll get budget that maybe they weren't expecting, or there just needs to be like a quick reallocation and stuff like that. So understand that happens. But yeah, I would say definitely if you're dealing with something with a really important large campaign budget, etc., is just really think through all of the time, resources, and then again, just like the different stages that go into getting something really large and big executed. You'll get the outcome and measurement and all those good things that you want at the end of it.
Yeah, so that is a good segue into what makes a campaign successful when evaluating. Like, hey, we did it. Was it worth it? Did we do good?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times you're thinking about one main KPI, et cetera. So obviously that could be the success of the campaign. But again, I think really thinking about it holistically, and you may have some expected things that you want to get out of it, and that may be what you expect for the success, but you also may have some unexpected things that happen. And so I think you also want to pay attention to what unexpected things could happen and what value could come out of that. But I know we want to talk about looking at success. I think it's, again, really important just understanding how you're going to be able to capture your main KPI and how you're going to measure that so that you're able to confirm whether it was successful or not. So a lot of this is tying back to measurement, and just being able to make sure that you can track things is really going to be helpful to make sure that you're able to determine whether it was successful or not.
Yeah, because to the earlier point, like thinking beyond the install, typically the growth in revenue comes from things beyond that. So really identifying what it is you're hoping to do, whether it's retention or purchases or whatever, and having something to understand, right? What's the most common thing that campaigns drive for? Do you have perspective on that?
A lot of times they're running awareness campaigns. So sometimes it's just awareness. But I think if it's not awareness, then it's likely probably a sale of whatever product it may be.
Awesome. We're talking a little bit about campaigns. Is there a campaign or any project that you're particularly proud of because it taught you something, perhaps?
Yeah, the one that sticks out is migrating one of our global clients from one MMP to another. That has probably been one of the biggest projects, and just learning so many different aspects of it as well, that it really, it allowed me to help with the Mobile Summit and have a lens into the mobile space and be able to really understand the mobile space. So that's probably the top one that I'm proud of.
Well, considering that helped you understand the mobile space a little bit more, are there any trends that you think people in the mobile space should be paying attention to?
Thinking beyond the install and just thinking about the long-term value, engagement, and retention that you want to get from the consumer. And then the other, I think, biggest thing is AI and how that's going to reshape not just the consumer, but the whole ecosystem. And it's already there. It's already happening. But I think there's still quite a ways to go to see how things are really going to play out, and how are we going to get to a seamless journey and being able to see that whole journey through once AI has really
inserted itself in everything.
I know. Yeah. So yeah, I would say those are probably the two biggest things I can think of.
So speaking of the work you do in ad operations specifically, how has AI changed the way you think about that?
I think you kind of start off being a little nervous, right?
About using AI?
Yeah, using it, how it's going to affect things, etc. So I think the thing that we have to keep in mind is we need to teach AI, right? We need to build standards. And so I think it's important to understand that and not necessarily be afraid of it, and you got to lean into it. So I think what's helped is understanding how AI can actually help my day-to-day work and how it can help things along the way and process as well. And thinking about like QA or quality assurance is really important in the ABAP space. And so really thinking how you can utilize AI to make process and everything a little easier. So it's not going to solve everything, but it's going to make parts of the process easier and take stuff away that you can then put a little more effort and thought in other places that may be needed.
Yeah, that's definitely the hope. And it's doing that for a lot of people, I think. It's completely, like I said, infiltrating everything. Like, do you have perspective on AI in media buying and like the transition to now where it's like you literally say, hey, I'm giving you this much budget, figure the rest out platform. Do you have perspective on that?
Yeah, I mean, we've met with some of the partners and looked at the agents that have been built out for that. So it's here and everyone's able to use it, whether they need it or not. So yeah, the agents are here. I think there's still more to come, probably a lot more to come. But we've met with multiple partners this year where they've shown us the agent.
Would you say that mobile brands are generally excited about this? Skeptical?
I think a little less skeptical, but I feel like there's a little more positive enthusiasm around it than maybe there was a few years ago.
Cool. All right. So before we sign off here, any final advice to maybe someone that's listening that wants to move beyond an execution-based role into more of a strategy or leadership type position based on your experience?
Yeah, like work on projects that you want to learn and grow on. Unless you like actually work on those and you're part of that, you aren't going to be able to grow and really learn. So I would say it can be intimidating, but I think it's definitely important to lean in and be a part of any projects, campaigns where you want to be a part of, because without that experience, you aren't going to get the experience. You know, unfortunately, you do see things that go wrong, but you learn from that and you grow with that. So it's really important, I think, to be a part of that and take that leap, if you want to say.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining and for chatting through some of these trends and the event and your experience. Lovely to have you.
Yeah, I hope it will be helpful and really appreciate you having me on. And it was great connecting at the Mobile Summit as well.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Till next time. Thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, please leave a review wherever you listen to this and share with someone trying to grow their career or their business. Until next time, keep growing.